Check. All right, we are live from
Indirect.
from Chicago,
Yeah,
Illinois,
on the south side.
on the south side.
Cherry's first time on the south side of Chicago.
Look,
On the 9 at that.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Welcome to the city.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's the 31st.
Yes, ma'am. New
Walking
Year's
into
Eve.
2023. I feel good. I feel grateful.
How you feeling?
Grateful. Excited. Excited to be here.
Okay,
How are you? How you feeling?
I'm great. I first time in Chicago. Really just trying to navigate through the city. We going to the Bulls game later.
Oh my gosh.
So excited
That's
for
a
that.
very touristy thing to do, but it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I think at this point, like me just being a tourist in the city, just
Mhm.
trying to like enjoy myself is the main thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this is a great way to end the year
Mhm.
having this conversation right here.
Mhm.
The reason that we are here. So,
I'm excited.
Davi, for you, I really just wanted to get into and pick your brain just as far as
Mhm.
like Muse and like,
Mhm.
just how you got into Muse and wanting to segue this with Novice Principles.
Yeah, absolutely. So I created Muse back in 2020. Muse being a safe space, a blog, a platform really to amplify underrepresented narratives, brands, creatives, and Black and Brown communities. So it was kind of like the height of the pandemic. Everybody had a passion project, and I really just believed in myself to really push it forward. Wrote stories, shared them, really tapped into the marketing of it. But one of my biggest passion points is hip hop.
Hip hop, yeah.
So I see your reviews,
Yes.
and we talk about albums, album rollouts,
Yeah,
album
that's how we
releases.
connected.
Right. And professionally, I work in creative marketing and social strategy. So that's how we really kind of like connected that intersection. And from there, I was like, let's shoot some shit. Like,
for sure.
let's have a conversation. This is really, really beneficial to both industries. So yeah, that
So
was
for
everything.
you, like, as far as music, like, when did you know that you loved hip hop?
Man, that's a loaded question. I would definitely say so. I was born in 1999, right? And Brown Sugar came out in 2002. And
Okay.
I vividly remember watching Brown Sugar for the first time,
That's your favorite movie?
like of all time to
Okay.
this day, with Sanaa Lathan, Tay Diggs.
Richard Lawson.
And the question, like, when did you fall in love with hip hop? Like, that really, really resonated with me. Because, like, yes, it was Mos Def. Yes, it was Common and Erykah Badu, but it was really kind of tapping into the storytelling aspect of hip hop, like another form of expression. And from there, I was just like, yeah. So growing up in a household, cleaning up on Sunday, it wasn't like house music. It was like some real hip hop.
hip-hop.
You know what I mean?
So is that like that early 2000s time period, like your favorite time period?
I would say early 90s.
Early 90s?
Like I was here before a few times. Like my favorite album of all time is Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
I can spit that shit word for word.
Sheesh.
You know what I mean? But it's like because I grew up on that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely my favorite like genre, favorite era of music. And it's just intensified. Like even going to school in Atlanta, that was like a different, like era, like genre of hip hop. But it really just increases as I get older.
Who's your favorite artist from the era? Would it be Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
No hesitation. What about you though?
Damn, I'm gonna say, well,
Being from Virginia, that's a heavy,
it is. Yeah, I mean, but I think the thing about Virginia is that Virginia is one of those under slept on. I'll say slept on.
Yeah.
Virginia is a very slept on state as far as impacting music.
Yeah.
Because when you think about Pusha T,
Got
Pharrell,
some
Timbo,
heavy hitters.
Missy Elliott, like the list goes on and on.
Right.
Teddy Riley literally like built everything down in Virginia Beach, and I think that is something that kind of just goes like not really, people don't really talk about it much.
Yeah.
But I think for the people who was really tapped into music, they know and understand the
Yeah.
fact that like Virginia has had this like crazy impact on production and
Absolutely.
the rap scene. It's
the
just,
Neptunes, like the
Yeah.
Neptunes alone, still to this day. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, real trailblazers. Like real trailblazers, and that's the thing. Like, so I love being from Virginia. I love the Virginia aspect of music. And then like just thinking about like what Virginia's doing now with all of the newer artists that are coming up, which just makes me excited to kind of see like us really take full control and really like start a new narrative on what being from Virginia means as far as in the music realm.
Who would you say is your favorite up and coming artist from Virginia
Ooh,
that you can put us on to? Because I'm not really
Yeah.
hip, so put me on.
Al Doms. So
Okay.
Al Doms, he's from Norfolk. He's from Norfolk, Virginia. He
Okay.
just dropped a project in September. It's called Prescribed Overdose.
Okay.
It's phenomenal, like from
Okay.
top to bottom. I'm gonna say it's like 14 songs maybe. But I
Say
really
that.
do think he's like the next biggest thing coming out of Virginia. He has a song with Pusha T on the project too, and so for me, that kind of felt like a passing of the torch moment. So I'm very excited to see what he does. But Al Doms is somebody that I think a lot of people will be like very tapped in with next year.
Okay.
So for you, as far as like new artists, like what do you think about this generation of artists?
I feel indifferently. I feel like there's two very specific sides of the spectrum. So one end, there's a new generation of artists, and that's power in itself. But I'm not really a fan of how we're kind of like reinventing the wheel.
Okay.
A lot of like mainstream music is all like samples, especially with like the women in hip hop. Like they're sampling old shit, which is kind of like, you know, make your nods to it. But I'm ready for some real, raw, organic, like hip hop. Like history repeats itself, yes, but I feel like we're kind of caught in this like mumbo jumbo.
So you're looking for hip hop to reinvent itself into like this new year, maybe.
That's what I hope.
Because it's
That's what I
hard.
hope.
Because like you said, I think as far as the sampling thing, that's definitely something that you see is like very prevalent now. It's sampling old songs, and then these things happen where everybody's got to get sample clearances and songs don't drop. But it's like where's the authentic production?
Exactly. That's what I say all the time, especially working in creative marketing and social strategy. Like authenticity is your aesthetic. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's super hard for these younger artists, especially like around our age, Gen Zers, whatever, to push out music across social channels. Like, how are artists nowadays standing the test of time with platforms like TikTok? Like, you have 30 seconds to make a hit. You know what I mean?
Everybody's
like,
dropping something every 2 seconds.
Leaking something on TikTok, it's a trending sound for a few months, and then it's kind of like when you see the artist, are they able to perform it live? Are they able to diversify their music? So like, what does that look like? And really talking about like the impact social media has on how artists are producing and consuming music. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's a win-win, but it's also a lose-lose. Like,
lose-lose.
Your streams are going up. Like, one of my examples, Jack Harlow. When he leaked First Class, right?
Yeah.
Leaked First Class on TikTok. It was like a #1 trending sound for weeks. There were content creators like making videos. It was trending. And then it came out and it was already like #1 on the charts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like just being consistent with that, but also how can you stand the test of time?
And it's also hard because I think with that, you think about like how labels and the music industry is utilizing TikTok to push things to the forefront. Because you think, like you said about the snippets, like we'll hear snippets on TikTok all the time. But I think one thing is like the snippets might sound cool.
Exactly.
But then when the song actually drops and you like this is not it. Like this is not it.
Yeah. Like I love Ice Spice. Her birthday's tomorrow.
Okay.
And you get like those catchy, like, how can I lose when I already chose?
Yeah.
Like, but it's like the rest of the song, it's like, you know what I mean? Versus like back then, we're spitting that shit bar for bar, word for word. So I think we just have to see. Like, we have to be hopeful. But I hope that this new class, this new emerging class of hip hop artists can stand the test of time, but also lean into each other to collaborate more. That's what I do love. Like the girl gangs, I do love that.
Oh yeah, and they all coming up at the same time.
Got that shit. But there are girls or just artists who are getting it right, in my opinion. Like Flo Milli got it.
Yeah.
Flo Milli got it. Baby Tate, anybody coming out of Detroit got that shit.
Got it right now.
Got that shit. You know what I mean? So like we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm hopeful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the marketing aspect, you know, I know one thing that we had talked about off camera was like the aspect of album rollouts and the importance of one, album rollouts in themselves, but also just the way that like social media's influence kind of has pushed artists to do these creative things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I really wanted to jump to as far as like, you know, your favorite rollouts and like what that looks like to you.
Man, so we'll talk 2022.
Okay.
For sure. You know, in honor of today being the last day of 2022.
Absolutely.
And I feel like the biggest ones in conversation are definitely Drake and 21 Savage and Metro Boomin.
Which one would you pick out the two?
Metro Boomin.
Okay.
I think that's where this conversation stemmed from.
It is, yeah.
I was late to the album rollout for some reason. I saw everyone posting it, but I was just like seeing different like pieces of the puzzle. And one day I really sat there and did a deep dive, not only on like his Instagram channel, but the short film that he put out. And that was my favorite, arguably the best album rollout of the year.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
And I said
Not mad at
that Metro, as a producer, as an artist, has done such a great job of humanizing hip hop again, like steering away from just secret drops or private drops, but like the storytelling aspects.
Being a true composer.
Absolutely, telling a story. User engagement, like really just trying to get his audience to like tap into like the comic strips, the short film, like.
Yeah.
It told a story. He optimized every social channel.
The entire week, like, you know,
Man,
'cause
what?
from Monday to Friday, you literally saw him dropping. Like, I remember he dropped something on Monday, and then he
Yes.
had the Atlanta listening event that
Yes.
Tuesday, New York listening event.
Yes.
And then he started like getting the fans interact. He started getting the fan interaction on Twitter to like promote the songs and like reveal the songs. Like
Yeah.
that was beautifully crafted.
That's what makes me tick. Like, of course, listening to the album, talking about it, but like, how are you telling that story? How are you getting my attention? You know, like what makes me want to listen further? And I feel like Metro really had it. Like,
Yeah.
not only did he optimize his social channels, but he had in-person activations. He engaged with his audience. Like, he had a surprise element, but it was a story from Monday to Friday.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Drake and 21 Savage, they already have these huge platforms. So it was refreshing and interesting to see how they kind of like mocked, you know, these fake like, you know, NPR interviews, Vogue
interviews.
covers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's interesting to see how people manipulate their platform, but I really want artists to get back into the intentionality of rolling out. Like, that's what made me fall in love with hip hop, like the storytelling component.
piece.
And now I feel like sometimes artists get a little comfortable because all you have to do is, you know, hit that shit on TikTok and it's going up. But it doesn't stand the test of time, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, everybody wants to push TikTok because I know a lot of artists that don't even still use
Yeah.
TikTok or Triller or whatever.
Yeah.
But just like I think it goes back to not really believing in your own vision. Because I remember I was watching this interview that Tyler the Creator had, and he was telling people like, bro, like my album came out a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'm still promoting it.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. I think it goes back to like, do you truly believe in like what you're dropping? Because if you really do, you're gonna post it everywhere. You're gonna try to get all the engagement, utilize all the platforms.
Yeah.
But I do think it does go back into like that piece is more so believing in yourself, as opposed to them just being comfortable.
Yeah. What would you say was your favorite out of the two? Or your favorite album rollout this year in general? I feel like this was a great year for hip hop, for music,
It
in
was
totality.
a phenomenal year, but yeah, I think like you said, I think because when you really think about it, I think the only two album rollouts that stand out were those two, Drake's and Metro Boomin's. The only other one that I can truly, honestly think about is this younger artist from New Jersey, Chris Patrick. Him and his team like did like this whole. The project is called X-Files. And so like they did this whole like mystery puzzle solving thing that they were sending out to all their friends, and like people had to like put together all these things to figure out like the album.
Yeah.
And so that's the only one I can really think about. But I think that's the thing is that artists need to get more in tune with doing that and really truly like start pushing these projects and pushing the passion projects that they have for themselves.
I think in the future, maybe as soon as 2023, artists will start leaning more on to content creators and influencers, especially across like the larger platforms, to help with their album rollouts. I've been seeing, even though Ice Spice hasn't dropped like an album, I've been seeing her connect with like a lot of popular TikTok influencers, TikTok content creators, because it's like, that's my favorite creator. This is a new up and coming artist. Like, you know, it's like a double win. So
and like we're moving into we're not moving into, we're already here, but the visual aspect of like content. And just the fact that especially with like TikTok and just with YouTube, like everybody's focused on like short video content and just looking at like what's here. Like it's cool to, you know, do like have the album reviews and the things that we do.
Yeah.
But it's like people also want to see those visual elements.
Yeah.
And that's how you see like with everything going on TikTok with everybody with all the album reviews and everything, but just that more visual aspect to it.
Yeah.
Is very important.
And you'll see like the artists and the brands that have the most success, that have the most authentic engagement and followings are the ones that show the process over the final product.
Agree.
That show kind of like what this process of developing an album looked like SZA. I mean, it's been years, you know what I mean? But like
5.
man, 5, right?
5.
But like tweeting about it, engaging her audience with like, which track list do you guys like, which cover do you all like, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's so much power in being transparent and leaning into your audience, because like they want to be a part of the process.
Agreed.
Like your fans are the ones consuming everything, you know what I mean? So tapping into them across channels is really like what people are doing to win the game.
I agree. So would you? So like we were talking about Beyonce,
Man.
and we were talking about how she did like that first initial surprise drop, and how that literally shifted the entire culture.
The entire culture, like the entire game.
Because I remember, I think back then albums were probably dropping like middle of the week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and then she dropped on a Friday.
Yep.
And then everybody after that started pushing things on Friday.
Yeah.
Do you think Fridays are a good day to drop albums because you see like how at this rate it's like 20, 30 artists all dropping albums on Fridays, and it just creates like this influx of music, and it kind of gets hard because you start seeing projects get lost in translation. And now we're at the end of the year, you know, and there are probably projects that we probably still haven't listened to.
Yes,
but
that's
that were
me.
Phenomenal.
I get overwhelmed. I will say that it's probably great for engagement. I mean, it's like weekend, everyone's looking forward to it, but like you said, some albums get lost in translation. But Beyonce came in, changed the game. I mean, I remember like Good Fridays when like Ye was dropping music, you know what I mean? But Beyonce literally worked on a project in silence, in private for however many months, years, and dropped that shit. No promo. Granted, she's Beyonce.
So she can do that.
She can do that, but like the power of that as well. You know what I mean? Like leaning more into just engage with the music, you know? Like no perception, just engage with the music. So moving forward, I definitely want to see artists just drop. Like not just kind of like fall into this algorithm, because like why does it have to be Friday? You know what I mean? Like
and that's my thing.
Yeah.
Like why does it have to be Friday? Because I know like my favorite rapper right now, Young Nudie.
Nudie.
Nudie's the GOAT. But he consistently will drop on like a Wednesday, a Monday, Tuesday, and just not care. But it's like why are we waiting? Like I get it. I get the whole album rollout aspect, but I think you can still have a rollout without worrying about a Friday drop. But I think that goes more into maybe like contractual things that they have, and just maybe the way the industry's built.
Yeah,
but
true.
I think that's something that we need to get out of.
And also I feel like it's important to talk about how fans put a lot of pressure on these artists like they aren't human. You know what I mean? Like we expect a lot from them. If they don't drop on a certain day, we're like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
That's because like social media, and we have like access to everybody.
Exactly. And that's another thing. Social media has given us too much access to people. You know what I mean? Like you know so much about somebody, or you think you know so much about somebody based on what the 13 pictures on their feed. You know what I mean? So I definitely think artists, especially of our generation, are doing a better job of like, yo, I'm human. Like this is my life outside of like hip hop, outside of R&B. You know what I mean? So I do respect Nudie for that. Like
and that's what I think. Like you said that. Because I was thinking about the visual element again, and just how like artists being able to give like behind the scenes footage and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I know like thinking about Sweetie,
Man.
she was great with the So Icy Life, and just kind of like showing like everything that she does that's not even about the music, but it gives you that personal feel, and that, I think that's where it goes into thinking that everybody kind of feels like they know each other.
Yes. I mean, but Sweetie's another artist that has had phenomenal album rollouts, like really tapping into who her audience is across channels. Like her social rollout was stupid. Like Ice University, like she had a whole platform, a whole channel on YouTube, like teaching young girls about like,
It's fire.
you know what I mean? Like how to get a bag. Like, and it wasn't just all these like cliche, like it's giving like phrases, but it was like about financial literacy. It was about like prioritizing your health and like what it's like navigating your 20s, all that stuff. So I feel like it's when artists actually listen to their audience as well. You know what I mean? Like I can't really say that Sweetie is one of my favorite artists, period, but she listens to who listens to her.
The marketing aspect too.
Exactly. Her team understands like, you know, who her target audience is, the demographic, the age, where they are. Like She got that shit. Her and Summer Walker got it.
Yeah, Summer Walker. So
Got it.
I'm gonna say, how'd you feel about Summer Walker's rollout
Whew, well,
for Over? I know we were talking about Over It.
man. So I still listen to Over It.
Really?
Maybe through and through. Maybe
Okay.
once a week.
Mhm.
I don't think I'll ever stop. Honestly. Still Over It was good too, but what I do love is that she made the promo, the rollout for the album, like a tangible concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she had the hard drive. The hard drive of her album had an Instagram page.
Mhm.
She had in-person activations. Like whatever city can break this glass and get the hard drive, like you all get the album first. You know
Yeah,
what I
I remember
mean?
that.
So it's like they listen to what their audience needs from them,
Mhm.
wants from them. And I feel like those are the most impressive rollouts.
Agreed.
Like the girls needed it. Hot girl summer, whatever, sad girl, whatever. The
Sad
girls
girl
needed
winter.
it. Like, and they delivered and they did it in a different way. I think Joe Freshgood said it the best way. Like, my approach is let's do shit differently or not at all.
Mhm.
And there are artists who are doing things that have never been done before. And that's super, super important. So I'm excited to see kind of like how artists tap into their power moving forward.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
So how would you describe this year in music?
It was a good year. It damn near like,
What were you listening to?
oh my gosh. I mean, I am one of those people who gets overwhelmed with like album rollouts
Yeah.
a little bit. Like
Mhm.
every Friday I'm like, fuck, I gotta listen to Metro, Smino drop, this person drop. So sometimes like I like to wait
To wait.
to savor everything.
Mhm.
But outside of hip hop, I would definitely say like Raven Lenae. I'm
Okay.
not sure if you're familiar.
Yeah,
She had an
yeah.
album that went like gold in my
Really?
household.
Okay.
And I would say this is a year that I really diversified my taste in music. So it wasn't just hip hop, it wasn't just mainstream what was dropping, but it was honestly like a lot of new music. Because I catch myself listening to my favorite albums. I'm a Taurus, I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So I listen to the same albums over and over again because they're not going to disappoint me.
No.
You know what I
No.
mean? But I would definitely say like Nudi's album was up there.
Mhm.
Definitely Raven Lenae's album was up there.
Phenomenal taste.
Like
Phenomenal.
there were a lot of albums that were like up there. Smino's album was up there.
Love for Rent was good.
Man,
Love for Rent was really good.
Metro's album, I think we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I have like a very specific song that's my favorite, but I can't skip like any songs on the shit.
No, it's good, and I think the perfect thing about it is that, like you said, it's a story.
Yes.
Like you literally listen to it. Each song flows into the next one.
Yes.
Like the transitions on there is phenomenal.
Yes.
Like what Metro is able to do on there, I just feel like just can't be recreated.
He's
by
a great
anybody.
producer.
Literally,
Like
and he didn't have to say a word.
he got it, but that's been him the entire time.
Oh, for sure.
And I will say, I mean, this is like an honorable mention. Renaissance. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
The Queen.
Like, of course you've listened.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Cuff
All
It,
the way-
Heated, like
All the
Virgo's
way through
Groove.
the transitions, the way that Beyonce didn't even have a TikTok, but her songs were trending. Like the way that TikTok dances have been created off of Cuff It. Like we get it. Like that's a whole
Yeah.
thing. Like people were at Christmas, we're at Thanksgiving doing
I
that.
saw Good Morning America. They was doing the dances on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the way concert sales are going? Talking about Renaissance, talking
Ooh.
about how people are saving up their rent money to go out and get concert tickets, but not really knowing what's going on with like Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster.
Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like?
It's crazy because Ticketmaster has such like a monopoly on tickets.
Yeah.
Which is why like Joe Biden and the administration is kind of like looking into that.
Yeah.
And I think that does because price gouging is so nasty. Price gouging one is nasty, and I just don't think that tickets should ever be to where people have to choose between like damn, I'm trying to go to this Drake concert.
I'm trying to live.
But I got rent to pay, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
go to this Drake concert. Like, but no, I do think that as far as tickets, something has to be done about it. But I'm excited just for touring and just to see like artists really get back outside because I think since the pandemic started in 2020, that's something that went away. And it kind of just left that personable aspect out of music. But now that you see like everything's kind of getting back into the flow of kind of like what music is again.
Yeah.
I think next year, like you see, I don't know if you've seen, but it's a lot of artists that have already started announcing tours at the same time. And I think that's also another issue because it's like, damn, like I got to choose where I'm trying to go to. Division concert, Ari Lennox, Cash Page got one coming up. Like, it's so many coming up. Oh, Cash Page is the one.
Oh my gosh.
Cash Page is the one.
Yes.
And her project was by far one of my best ones this year.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big Cash Page fan.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Cruising a 6'5".
Please, please.
Yeah,
I will say
she the
though,
one.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jill Scott.
Okay.
Like, I love that the new artists are coming out. I want to see them. I want to see them live. Like you said, I
Jill
want that in
Scott.
person. But we got the old heads.
The
like,
oldies.
this is still our shit.
Yeah.
And we owe them that respect.
That's
so I'll be
fire.
front row for Jill Scott.
Jill Scott, when is that?
Ooh, I don't know. I want to say Q2,
Q2.
spring, summer.
Okay.
I'm there.
That's fire.
I'm there. I also want to see Beyonce.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beyonce, you know, Drake, 21.
say what you want to say about
tour.
Drake. Say what you want to say about Drake.
He's the GOAT.
I will say I think it's really interesting how everyone drops like their Spotify like 2022 raps
And
or
he's
just like whatever
yeah.
year, but he's always in everybody's top 5.
Even the ones who say that they don't like Drake, right? You think
Next question.
You think it's
Next topic.
we go move past that one. Nah, but Davi, what are you looking forward to? From music, one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wanted to kind of pick your brain on like Muse as a blog and as the brand.
Yeah. I'm super excited for, like we said, the in-person activations in 2023. So artists going back on tour, going back on the road, but also I'm looking forward to more collaborations amongst like each other. You know what I mean? Like more girl groups, more authentic community, like not just doing that shit for like the look of it, but like I really like to see like which artists are fans of each other and the ways that they like create community and connect. You know what I mean? Like I said, working in creative marketing, I'm looking forward to seeing how artists tap into the storytelling of how they drop their albums, drop their projects. I feel like now social media is getting a little scary. Like
It is.
with artificial intelligence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really, really important to continue creating community outside of these channels.
Agree.
Like when the dust settles and the smoke clears, there's no more Instagram. Like we see that Twitter is like in cahoots,
Yeah,
right? Like that shit could.
Twitter's going to.
But that's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite platform.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
you know what I mean? But it's like we see that Twitter might be disappearing soon. Instagram is always like had like a weird like
They just can't get the app together.
they can't get it right.
It goes
What are
da-
these
it-
notes? What are these notes? You know what I
I
mean?
don't
Like
know. Instagram also goes down like every other 30 minutes.
exactly.
Too,
So it's like when Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter disappears, like how are you still engaging with your fans? So I'm looking forward to seeing how these artists connect like in person, how they connect using different channels, podcasts, or also just kind of like stepping out of artistry. I think it's really cool when artists just show us that they're still human and start like acting. Start like talk shows, like things that are really organic to them. Because
Yeah.
we put them in these boxes, but that's our fault.
And I think
So-
like you think like the old school artists, like they were doing all of that.
Man.
And the new generation is kind of just like they
Mm-hmm.
drop music and it's kind of just like whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely something that, like you said,
Yeah.
should be cool that we would love to see for next year.
I'm just looking forward to the intersection of a lot of things. Like I said, like these artists tapping into content creators, like books, podcasts. Like what are ways that you can still show us your story outside of just what you're doing already?
Carisha, please.
Carisha, please. Carisha, please.
Man, no, yeah, but stuff like that, like I think like
Yeah.
it just shows like that authenticity and that genuineness. I think that would be dope. And I think next year is gonna be a great year for music.
Yeah.
I think it's really building on what 2022 has set up because
Yeah.
I think this year itself
It was a great year for music.
crazy.
But nothing, in my opinion, has ever or will ever.
Oh,
2016.
I was about to say yeah.
2016.
but
what?
like, what?
What was in the air? I don't know if it was because I was still in high school. I was about to be a senior, but
Yeah.
it was like the Controlla, One Dance, Uzi. I would be on my
Muse,
way to school, like
Migos
just
was coming up too at the
Migos.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think Culture dropped. I'm gonna say Culture dropped. Yeah, Culture dropped my freshman year.
Yeah.
So 2016.
Man. What was that like being in Atlanta at Morehouse? Culture drops.
They pulled up on campus too. You know what I'm saying? They pulled up on campus too. I remember that, and that was literally like right before the album had dropped, and before Bad and Bougie even came out. So just seeing that was just like a different time.
Yeah.
Atlanta was such a different place at that time.
Man, like I would say going to school in Atlanta really helped like intensify my love for hip hop as well. Like being there in the roots.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Like Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta is rap capital. And like that book I'm reading, that book that I showed you
Yeah,
I'm
I
reading.
like that.
Yeah, so I just got that the other day. And it's kind of, the book is called Rap Capital, and it takes you through like the entire history of Atlanta,
Okay.
like from the very start and how music kind of like transitioned. It kind of goes and breaks down literally all of the biggest artists from like Outkast, T.I., Gucci, literally everything. Even to the new generation, so Baby and all them. So I'm excited to just read that and kind of see, how in depth it gets. But yeah, Atlanta's impact on music, I think, will continue, especially going into the new year. Going into the new year for sure.
I'm excited.
But for you,
Personally, yeah,
Muse
Muse.
2023.
Yeah, so like I told you at the start of this, I started Muse as a blog and a platform to really explore different mediums of storytelling. I love writing, and it was a way to just honor my way with words and share my mind, you know what I mean? But the biggest part of me telling and sharing these stories was a way that I was marketing them. Like all the blogs were, of course, like written by me.
Yes.
But it was a way that I would kind of not promote, because it wasn't like for any type of game, but just put shit out there. And I feel like that was kind of like the reason why I'm so connected to album rollouts, working in social strategy, working in marketing. The end goal wasn't just to continue writing, but I'm looking forward to Muse extending as a vessel that taps more into creative marketing.
Yeah, that was gonna be my biggest question. Are you gonna get into the music realm as far as like creative marketing and really just taking that on as a creative director for for artists?
So I've gotten like inquiries for sure. Like definitely as I would publish blog posts across channels on my blog, people would be like, oh my God, number one, I love your writing. I love your words. Number two, I love this topic. But number three, like, I love your mind. Like, how did you even think like Hoop Dreams? I recreated like a Slam magazine cover.
Yeah, I remember that.
Tap into my resources. I did an article about fast fashion and amplified like a whole bunch of kind of like sustainable Black owned businesses, and like just got a lot of traction there. So people are just like, how do you do this? So instead of the focus being on like the writing, I want it to be on like helping to amplify other brands, creatives, businesses. So looking forward to Muse being a marketing platform where people are just able to tap into me to ask for support in me, just do their rollouts.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about working with labels, because there's always like some
you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that I figured out quick. Was that like you don't necessarily have to work with them.
Yeah.
Especially just you being a creative.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't ever have to come to that.
Yeah.
Because like you're really just working with the artists and their teams at the end of the day, and like them having the willingness and openness to working with you.
Exactly.
But I mean, who's to say that an opportunity like that won't come up?
Exactly.
Like a bigger artist or something.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I've never felt so strongly about a year than I do 2023. I mean, 2016 was cool, but I didn't know it was going to be like that.
I mean, but we was young back then.
Right. No
like
responsibilities.
Yeah, nah, I ain't had no bills to worry about.
So now it's just kind of like, now that I'm stepping further into adulthood, stepping further into my career, I'm definitely looking forward to my professional life to, number one, intertwine with my personal life, but also be more niched in entertainment and creative marketing. So I would love to help amplify an up-and-coming artist, hip-hop artist, help with the social rollout, the album rollout, what that looks like, in-person activations, but really just be a vessel. I don't want to be tied down to
anything.
A label, an agency, because
it
helps like fine-tune like my skills, my expertise, but I definitely want to keep my platform so people can just
keep it as authentic as it is.
Use my mind.
You gonna still do a lot more writing and journal prompts?
See, people have been bullying me. I just want to say that. People have been bullying me.
I've been seeing that, yeah.
Like, in my DMs, like, first of all, people are bullying us about dropping a playlist.
Oh, yeah. Nah, that's coming for sure.
It's coming soon.
The playlist is coming for sure.
Coming soon, but, I mean, it's not our fault that we have good taste in music. But we will connect on a playlist, but I definitely am going to drop some more journal prompts.
Okay.
Maybe before the end of this year. I don't know. I think you should check your phone later on today. I got some shit coming out.
For sure.
But
okay.
I'm I never say never. And I love writing. I love my pen. I love my paper. But I'm definitely looking forward to leaning more into marketing and exploring different mediums of storytelling, but marketing being like priority.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who are the muses for 2023?
Oh, in hip hop or?
Yeah. I mean, we can just do it in general. Like who are you looking forward to as far as the creative aspect in 2023?
I would say on a large scale, I love Flo Milli. I love what she's done. I've loved watching her come up. I do love Ice Spice. I want Ice Spice to win more than anybody. I want my girl Lola Brooke to win.
Oh no, yeah, she's the one.
I want Lola Brooke to win. Give me back some.
Don't play with it.
What?
Yeah,
I want
Lola
her to
Brooke
win. I want her to win. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how a lot of content creators that have like leveraged their platforms get more positions of power in like these creative spaces.
Agreed.
Like how artists lean into them, whether it's like album rollouts, just in-person activations, just meetups. I'm really looking forward to seeing how people lean into each other to create these communities. But yeah, I don't really have like my pulse on people for real. I'm rooting for Detroit always, but just looking to see like who got next and who's gonna like stay there.
Are you familiar with Baby Money?
Who are you talking to? Who did you try to pull my card like that?
Nah, I didn't. Cause I didn't know. Cause like I'll peep. You'll post like Babyface Ray, V's, GT, Icewear, Vezo,
Peasy,
but like
Free Rio,
all of them. But like I've never seen you like talk about Baby Money, so I just had to ask.
Yeah, Baby Money, definitely.
Not trying to pull your card.
No. Definitely, like that whole like culture, that whole like collective of artists from Detroit have it. Like their flow is so unique, so raw, like but also like so player, like too.
Yeah,
like the fact that I be like driving down the street, like like
that nigga.
Exactly that. Yeah. So I'm rooting for all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but what about you?
As far as just what next year?
Yeah.
Boston Richie for sure. Bubble chain 100,000.
Man.
Ran it up with public housing.
Man.
Nah, but yeah, Boston Richie for sure. Virginia Aldoms, Young Crazy, Saki. We have a lot of artists. Like we have a lot of artists that are coming up and doing a lot of great things. So looking for them. The women, like the women of rap, and that's one thing I've always put emphasis on was like them. Yeah. So like Lotto, Lola Brooke, Glorilla. I just want them to keep
Glow.
winning,
how did I forget?
How could you forget? Nah, but it's a lot of names, and I just think we're in a great place. Like what Future's doing with FBG, so Doughboy, Lil Double O, Boston Richie, them coming up. Like honestly, yeah, the list is long.
It is
long. Lil Tyler,
man,
Lil Tyler, he's got it.
Man,
he's got it.
And mind you, isn't he like
16?
16.
Yeah, he's 16.
Okay, yeah.
16,
he got
17.
It.
He's young.
But he's playing the long game. And I will say, like, generally, I'm invested in artists who are playing the long game. And taking their time. Like, Face talks about it all the time. He didn't just become like a overnight, success.
He was putting the work in.
But now he's like reaping the benefits of that. So I'm excited to continue amplifying these up and coming artists and really see how they take it. But also looking forward to how some of my favorite artists like bring things full circle. Like I want more music from Dom. I want more music from my like old heads that I still listen to. And also looking forward to seeing how artists continue expanding like drill. We're sitting in like the heart of like the originator, the birthplace of drill music.
Yeah, did you see Spotify did an interview with Chief Keef not too long ago.
Yeah.
And they asked him like how do you feel about being like the godfather of drill? He said, yeah, like I am the godfather of
Absolutely.
drill. So just seeing like his influence into what it is now, I think like you said, it's a continued evolution of it.
I'm just happy that number one, they're acknowledging him as such. Like,
oh yeah, the way that they were able to do the entire like the 10 years for Finally Rich, like that was
man, what?
World class.
I don't think you understand. Like growing up, going to house parties, that shit was a time. Like,
yeah,
I can't explain it. I don't think I could if I tried. But
that's crazy.
I'm glad they're acknowledging him as such first and foremost, but also like thinking about artists' impact on the culture, like hip hop at large. Why do we still see people wearing True Religions? come on. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see how they continue intensifying drill because it's changed so much from being kind of like this outlet of expression, like what's really going on, like in certain pockets and certain communities, to now it's like in London.
Yeah.
Like now it's like niggas in,
Yeah.
New York,
getting
it's
sturdy.
Yeah, getting sturdy.
Getting sturdy.
So I'm excited to see how these genres continue pushing barriers. I'm ready for some new shit, something different.
I am. Yeah, I think sound will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
You know, and I know especially like with artists like Playboi Carti,
Man.
always trying to push like new sounds and like moving into like the rock wave of things. You know, I do want to see that fusion maybe from hip hop to where like artists are like moving into live instrumentation,
Yes.
working with artists like Tame Impala, like working on the rock end. Like I think that would be great.
Even
music to really
jazz,
be on that.
like even like A Tribe Called Quest, like that was
Yeah.
still like very jazz centric. So like, what does it look like to fuse different genres together?
So we really just want y'all to move away from samples.
Exactly.
Move away from samples. Leave the classics as the classics.
You know, I mean,
But yeah, so for you, you know, what do you want to be remembered for? Like when it's all said and done.
all said and done. Man, this is a loaded question. I would say personally, this might sound like cliche, but like somebody who was kind.
Okay.
First and foremost, like without fear, just really like doing everything I say I'll do. You know what I mean? And I'm really also here to play the long game. So I'm really looking forward to helping redefine what this narrative looks like in Black and brown communities, specifically in creative communities. Yeah, I really want to take this marketing shit somewhere it hasn't been before. And I'm excited to do so in an entertainment space.
Okay.
But really just staying like authentic. Yeah.
That's the number one thing.
And being able to like back my shit up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're still young, we're still figuring it out. You know what I mean? But like just knowing that I never strayed from my core values.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm looking, legacy is like what we're really talking about now.
Like yeah, I would say legacy is the word for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely legacy, and I think that's the big thing is just how does one leave an impact, but also being authentic in yourself. Because I think like if you're not authentic in yourself, one, it'll show all throughout like everything you do, but also just like being able to leave something here so that way when people start looking back years from now, it's like oh, like X, Y, and Z did this, like they changed the game, shit like that. But yeah.
And honestly, like I don't have the intention of just changing the game.
For sure.
Like I think for me it's really just like stepping into my power. Really just being a vessel. Like I'm just what God made me. You know what I mean? So really just leaning into that. And I can't lose from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Davi, what's one piece of advice that you would give to creatives going into 2023?
Going into 2023. This might sound controversial, but I'm kind of anti-advice. There are things, I am who I am because I've done what I've done. There have been people, mentors, older family members who have maybe told me not to do some shit, but I've done it anyway, and it's gotten me to where I am right now. So number one, like I said it before, but like authenticity is your aesthetic. Like never stray away from you. I would say that to my creatives, but also like lean into community. Issa Rae said it best. When you're like on the come up, it's more desirable
and horizontal.
Yes, it's more desirable, or it's more convenient. You know what I mean? More beneficial to kind of like climb upwards, climb the ladder, the social ladder, networking, whatever that shit is. But you know what I mean? But it's so much easier and so much more fulfilling when you just look to your left, look to your right.
Agree.
You know what I mean? Like here we are. We weren't really like friends in the AUC. Like we knew
with as many mutual
we
connections
rubbed shoulders, we rubbed
have.
elbows, but like here we are. You know what I mean? So I could have been DMing somebody like, oh, you have a podcast, like, or oh, you have a platform. Like, can I, you know, just to expand my platform,
But that's not even how this happened. Like it was just all
like organic, authentic. Exactly. So just leaning into that, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Davi, I appreciate you.
Man, thank you for coming to the city for this.
Of course.
I'm not saying you flew here for this, but you kind of flew here for this.
But I mean, you know, this being my first time in Chicago, I think it was just the perfect time for us to really just be able to do this. You know, have a great conversation as far as like music and just on the culture itself. But yeah, very appreciative of you.
No, thank you.
Very appreciative of Muse.
Thank you.
Excited to see what comes from you. Not even just 2023, but the long run.
Man,
you know,
we're gonna mark this podcast. And then maybe we'll have like a full circle moment where we can talk about our 2023 rats.
Okay.
See if our predictions were correct.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
So thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yes.
Appreciate you. So,
yeah.
All right, y'all. I thank y'all again. It's your boy, Alex Cherry with Novice Principles. And we'll see y'all in 2023.
Next time.
Boom.
Yay.